Ni wern narik dien, waterang actanuk, Mockbury and waterang bagaruk, Monamaith mirabea, Nilinga waterang bake, Karingarapo, Bunjo the Ego, Wa the Crow, Kimbani Ba, Deanne Gilson. Welcome to Waterang Country.
Live from Waterang Country, welcome to Lance TV. Coming to you from the palatial new Camp Street Studios in Ballarat, get ready to laugh, think, love and sparkle. And now, it's time to turn that camp dial all the way up to fabulous. Here's your host, the multi-award-winning Lance-tastic, Lance DePoyle.
Everybody's smiling, sunshine day. Oh, wasn't it a beautiful spring day today? You're watching Lance TV. I'm Lance DeBoyle, and we're coming to you live from Ballarat in Waterang Country, resting place of Bunjil the Eagle. Welcome to the show. We've got a jam-packed one. If you've missed me over the last couple of weeks, I had been off with a bit of bronchitis. I was a bit unwell, and I still could cough this evening, so I do apologise in advance. But I've taken my Ventolin and fingers crossed from here. Come on, pull up a drink and sit down on your sofa. Wow, what can I say? I'll tell you what I do want to say. News about monkeypox has hit the scene again. News reports saying something along the lines of that between this year and last year there has been an increase, a 600% increase in cases of monkeypox. For those of you who are watching us on Facebook in Western Victoria, there is some information that you can find on Grampians Health. There's the website there. If you get yourself to there, follow the tags to the monkeypox vaccination. Just keep scrolling, Soph, just to get an overview on information. It explains to you how it spreads, what you can do. There's a monkeypox 101 there, all sorts of handy resources and links. Of course, this, as I said, is Grampians Health. If we can just scroll down a little bit, Soph, to that point where, the Mpox vaccinations. So if you are living in Western Victoria, there are the places that you will be able to get vaccinated against Mpox. There is a bit of a campaign going on at the moment. So if you think you might be, near monkeypox or have monkeypox or something along that line, best get yourself to the doctors. There's no shame in it. Thank you, Soph. There's no shame in contracting any disease. Monkey or Mpox, as it's becoming known, is no less embarrassing than having a cold. At the end of the day, you won't be judged. There is word, and I think I've read it properly when I thought I'd read that Mpox is potentially coming the new smallpox of our time. So we need to stay on top of it so it doesn't get out of control. So check your local healthcare provider information site and get yourself some information about monkeypox if you don't already know it. And I tell you what you don't already know, our special guest tonight has come all the way from the city of Ballarat. And please be upstanding, charge your glasses, for the one, the only, Councillor Belinda Coates. Oh, look at you, resplendent there. Mwah, mwah. Oh, darling, you look immaculate. Please, pull up a seat.
Thank you. Thanks, Lance.
Who are you wearing?
Well, I'm wearing some op-shop jeans and topping it off with some sparkly bling.
I'm actually quite envious of the sparkly bling. It works for you very well.
Thank you.
As I said, you are a councillor at the City of Ballarat. What's that all about?
Yeah, well, it mustn't be too bad. I've been there nearly 12 years now, so I must be doing something right.
Well, you can't complain. You put your hand up for it.
True.
So, it's your own situation.
Yeah, and put my hand up again in the upcoming elections as well. So I've been a councillor for 12 years, deputy mayor twice.
Oh.
And a lot's happened in that time. A lot of really, really positive change for the city. So there's a lot you can do as a counsellor. So love the community, and yeah, I wouldn't be still doing it if it was terrible.
Yeah, and you are very well loved by many members of the Ballarat community. You're a good stick, you're a good egg for a counsellor, for somebody who's a poly. But more about that as we go along.
Yeah.
We have our first pre-recorded segment. Dr. Soph has taken us to the wonderful, wonderful place, Ballarat. Wadawurrung country here. Sophie's giggling. And tonight we're going to meet musician and artist Tara Rainbows, and we'll be back after this.
So hi, I'm Tara Rainbow. I'm a queer artist. I create art in Wadawurrung country. I'm a mixed media artist and I create a lot of different things. So my favourite is the watercolours and soft pastels. So what I'll do is make big bodies of colour on a watercolour sheet, and then I'll draw on top of that with soft pastel, and usually it's sort of like random fluid shapes and sort of all over the place. It's abstract mostly. And I also do acrylic paintings, and usually that'll have like a swirly kind of background as instead of like the bodies of colour that's easy to get with watercolour. And then I'll kind of put all over the top of that random shapes and stuff as well. And yeah, I've been making little sculptures to go along with my work, and sometimes I'll add stuff to canvases, so that might include like expanding foam or something, because it makes like a really fun texture. I think this little starfish behind me, it's sort of it's essentially like a plushie. I just sewed it together and then I sewed it onto the canvas because it just made it a bit more fun. Like I did art in high school with like many people, but never really kind of got into it. Not really sure why, but I started at the certificate 3 in visual arts, and it was a part-time, just 3 hours a week. And it was just for fun. I just started for fun. But we went through kind of everything. We learned watercolor techniques and acrylic painting techniques and printmaking and essentially the basics of so many different medias. And I kind of fell in love with a lot. And then I kept going and I did the Set 4, and then I kept going and I did the diploma, and now I'm doing full-time. I'm about to finish my advanced diploma. So I just kind of kept going with it, and I kind of just went, this is it. I mean, it's a form of self-expression. I can show myself with the world, show my personal expression through my art. But also, I just love colour. I love a lot of colour, and I love looking at it and creating with it and stuff. So a lot of my work is just really colourful. It's abstract, so there's fluid shapes and a lot of different things going on. A lot of them are kind of chaotic sometimes, and it's really visually stimulating, which is really kind of satisfies that sensory seeking part of me. But yeah, it's just a lot going on, and I just like looking at it, really. My favourite work that I've done is a really big watercolour and soft pastel piece. It was the first time that I decided to kind of draw random shapes on a big watercolour. That one's called Bikini Bottom. A lot of my work ends up looking like coral reefs and under the sea and stuff. And I made that one, and one of my classmates at the time said it looked like Bikini Bottom, and I couldn't get it out of my head. I did create, there's a big kind of piece behind me on the wall that you can't see very well. That was an experiment for a mural, because I'd love to do some mural work, and I just have kind of been going bigger and bigger and bigger. And so yeah, that's a goal of mine as well. I do have something coming up that I'm actually really excited about. Starting in December, I'm exhibiting in Unicorn Lane in Ballarat, which is just a really great opportunity for emerging artists in Ballarat. run by the council, and it's in like the Ballarat CBD. Maybe just find what works for you and then run with that. I think we all know from history that it doesn't work for everyone to sit and make an oil painting of someone or a landscape. And I think that's why I struggled in high school, because I wasn't being taught by the right people the right things, I think. And I encouraged more. You're encouraged more as an adult to make whatever you want, basically. And through those experimentations, I found what I want to do. And so find what works for you and run with it. Do it. That's it.
If you're interested in participating, email us at lance.artist.corner@gmail.com.
There you go. So, local artists, you got excited when it was like, oh, Unicorn Lane.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is. It's one of our City of Ballarat supported community arts projects, so opportunity for emerging artists to have their work displayed. And it's great. It's so many people see it in that laneway. It's really, really visible from Sturt Street. So it's a great one. And you said Tara's got an exhibition at TBH.
There was, that's just concluded at TBH.
Finished,
Hello, if you're watching from TBH. So Unicorn Lane, that just got activated in the last 3 or 4 years, didn't it?
Yeah, and it will be even more activated with the connection to the new entrance for Her Maj down there as well. Yeah, so it connects with the back of Her Majesty's Theatre.
So that's the back entry.
Yeah.
I thought it was just, I never walked up it. I've seen the art there, but I've never ventured further. I'm clearly not a curious child.
Yeah, there's a big open space there that's kind of getting cleared up, and there's been part of the renovation works for Her Majesty's Theatre. There's a great big new sort of metal pressed metal sculptural kind of installation in there now too.
Nice.
You probably haven't seen it. So no. Stick your head down Unicorn Lane.
Let's go. I'll take the torch. Because Her Maj had a soft opening a couple of weeks ago, didn't it?
It did, yeah. It's looking great. So it's really exciting. The formal opening will be in November, towards the end of November, I think. So they've got a really, really terrific program lined up from what I can tell. Exciting. It's a beautiful, beautiful theatre. We've missed her so much.
Yeah, again, I don't think in my in and out of Ballarat for 40 years, I don't think I've ever been in Her Majesty's. Ever.
Really?
Even when they
really?
did Phantom of the Opera and Glenn Fisher had the big scene with the chandelier.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
wow.
I just never set foot inside it.
Put it on the list. Put it on the list. If you haven't been, definitely keep an eye out for the up.
Welcome back. You're watching me. And I say that because it went to you first. So you're watching me, you're watching Lanes TV, and if you've just tuned in, we're here with Councillor Belinda Coates. Now, Belinda, this isn't your first foray into the world of Lance TV, is it?
No, I was on the very, very first show. I'm very proud of that.
You were.
Yeah.
You were. You and actually Jan Gilson, who
That's right.
does our Welcome to Country.
Yes.
And I boldly say that we are actually one of the few television shows who actually has a Welcome to Country at the top of every show. And that first episode we did back in 2017 on Facebook, it was really important for me to have First Nations voice to be the first words ever spoken on Lance TV, and Deanne did a welcome then.
And it was beautiful, yeah. And what a great tradition to have, and to have continued it the whole time.
Yeah.
It's great.
Well, it's about holding space for those who, marginalised and pushed to the side. So it's about centering people where you can, and that's what I like to do. And that's why you're here.
Great.
In fact, you're here because I want to ask you this question, and we've been asking this question since 2017. Where were you born?
I was born in Ballarat, so yeah, right here in this city, and I'm pretty sure at St John's, but my mum's now not alive, and my dad doesn't remember, would you believe, whether it was the base or St John's. But I'm
Well, he didn't have to do the hard work, really, did he? I'm sorry to hear about your mum passing.
No, yeah. Quite a long time ago now, about 30 years ago, my mum passed away. So, yeah, it's questions like that you miss when you don't have a parent, you know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's no way to fill that gap anymore.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's on, I don't know, probably not that hard to find out.
You're a counsellor. Just ring up and go, I'm a counsellor. Where's my records?
Yeah,
But
which hospital was it? Was it the base or St John's?
Actually, you were born in Dalesford. That'd be funny, wouldn't it? So born and raised in Ballarat.
Yep.
You're a counsellor in Ballarat.
Yep.
Have you ever moved out of Ballarat? Did you do the sojourn down to Melbourne?
I went to uni in Melbourne, but I lived here during that time as well, because it was easier and cheaper to just commute, so to live here and commute. And I was doing social work, so it was a few days a week, and because it has such a big fieldwork component, it was easier just to live here.
Yeah, right.
Family, friends here, cheaper. Yeah. So no, I haven't lived anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is pretty rare, because you get a lot, like young people are usually like, especially in regional places, kind of like, this place is a hole, and they take off to the big smoke, but that just wasn't your calling.
Yeah, well, I think it was probably a little bit different for me, because I was a young single parent as well, and I put myself through uni as a single parent. So, you know, I kind of wasn't quite as free and easy, if you know what I mean. Like it's harder to move away when you've got
responsibilities.
Yeah, responsibilities.
The responsibility of somebody else's life in your hands.
Yeah.
How many kids were in your family?
Four in my family.
And where do you sit in that?
I'm a middle child, of course.
Oh.
Of course I'm a middle child.
Right. We see you and you are valid. Look at us all laughing. Hello to all the little children who are watching. We see you and you are valid.
There's even a band called the Middle Kids now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are they Australian?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Amazing. So, Bachelor of Social Work.
Yep.
Where did you do that?
Melbourne Uni.
Uni?
Yeah.
And that was 3 years of great excitement?
Yeah, it was. And back then there was a partnership with the Ballarat University, whatever it was called.
Back then. BCAE?
I think it was UB or something, University of Ballarat back then.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, there was a partnership with Melbourne Uni, so I was able to do a couple of units here and then travelled to Melbourne as well. But
cool.
In total 4 years when I did it, because we had to do a research year. So it was the equivalent of doing your honours, but it wasn't your honours kind of thing. So, yeah.
Amazing. And then, so you did your 4 years, and did you go into practice?
Yeah.
What was your first gig?
My first gig, and I'm almost embarrassed about it, but it was at Centrelink, or back then it was Department of Social Security, but really grounding and really important work that social workers do in Centrelink. You're right at the coalface of so many issues. Most people at some point in their life go through the doors of Centrelink or have some kind of situation in their life where they need support or a payment, and it's really good experience as a social worker to be exposed to people from absolutely all walks of life, from all sorts of backgrounds, all age groups, people experiencing homelessness, domestic violence, people with disabilities, people who have suddenly just lost everything through, accident or a death in the family, those sorts of things as well. So great experience.
There's a lot to be said for a good social worker at Centrelink. In another life, I made friends with social workers in my work. and they would be able to move heaven and mountains for your clients.
It's a hard gig working in the public service as a social worker and in an environment like that. As some of the old hands used to say to me things like, you got two types of people in here who work here. You got your cops and you got your social workers. And so, yeah, being able to navigate the public service and advocate for people and get things done is really important, and social workers are really skilled at doing that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that was one of my first jobs, but I spent a lot of time trying to get out of that job and retraining. So I skilled up and did
grad dip?
Yeah, grad dip in counselling and psychotherapy.
So you're a psychotherapist.
Yeah.
Have you been calculating me all of this time? Have you been going
taking mental notes?
Yeah, right.
And I got a job.
So you have. You've been reading me to filth.
Yeah, true. But no, seriously, after retraining, I got another really challenging job at the Centre Against Sexual Assault. So I worked for 8 years as a senior counsellor advocate for the Centre Against Sexual Assault.
That would be a tough gig.
Yeah, it was a tough gig. Yeah. I remember even in my early years as a social worker, one of the expos I went to, you know, those expos where you have all the different community groups and people go around and chat to each other. I was chatting to some of the ambulance people, and this older bloke said to me, "And what do you do?" And I said, "Oh, I'm a social worker." And he said, "I wouldn't do what you do for quids." And he's like an ambulance driver.
Yeah, right. It's all about perspective.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you for everything that you've done. You're still working in the field as well, aren't you?
A little bit. So I do some sessional supervision for Masters of Social Work students.
Keeping your hand in.
Keeping my hand in.
Oh, look at you go.
But it's rewarding. You know, you see people develop, and so many great, passionate people involved in the field, and yeah, it's really nice to help set people on their way.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. Talking about thanks for coming, we need to go for a short break. When we come back, we'll have some more lovely Councillor Belinda Coates after this.
Wow.
So for those of you who are watching us on the Book of Faces, if you've got a comment or a question for the lovely Belinda Coates, Councillor Belinda Coates, drop it in the thread and I will find it and I will read out your question or your connection to the world of us here in TV land.
So Stu reckons I should have my own Facebook page called Ask Belinda because I get so many, you know, like
random segment on TV, you know, across my desk.
But it's true, sometimes, you know, people ask me about just really random things, you know, cat microchipping, domestic violence stats in Ballarat. What day do I put my bin out? You know, all sorts of random things.
So you're kind of like a GP. Being a counsellor is a GP for the people.
Kind of.
General purpose.
Yeah.
Knowledge bank.
Yeah, you don't have to know everything, but you have to know how to find stuff. And look, literally, sometimes I'm just Googling myself.
I'm going to ask, I was going to say, what is it that keeps you there? But I need to ask it during the show.
Yeah.
The show proper.
Yeah.
But what day do you put your bins out in Ballarat Central?
Friday.
Friday?
Yeah. I had one of my neighbours once notice that I didn't put my bin out very often. I don't really create that much rubbish.
You're aren't you? You've got olives, everything everywhere. Yeah, right. But it's you know, you're a very conscientious person who shops wisely and probably takes their own. Can you just put it in my container? Are you one of those people? Can you just put it in my container and just weigh it? I'll take it in my own container.
I do a bit of that through the Whole Foods Collective. Actually, yeah, you can do that kind of stuff.
Where's that? That's not the place down at Eastwood there.
Barclay Street, Barclay Square. Yeah.
I know. I've been in there.
Yeah.
Just don't go to the big places. Yeah, right. So you can just take your own stuff and they'll do the do.
Yeah. It's a collective, so yeah, you take all your own containers. So yeah, I am one of.
And welcome back. You're watching Lance TV. I'm Lance de Boyle, and this is Councillor Belinda Coates.
It is.
I love it. I love every now and again on the show, people who watch the show often, just every now and again there'll be this awkward pause, and so I'll just go with it and just wait, and usually wait for the guest to go, no, this is too uncomfortable, and just, no. So no, I love it. It's one of those. Thank you for that happening. How many times can we have an awkward pause for the interview? You are known across Ballarat, far and wide in Ballarat, as being a Greens person. That's your persuasion, political persuasion. Talk to us about being a Greenie.
Yeah, well, I've been out as a Greenie for a fair while.
Do I do the song? It's not that easy being green.
Yeah. Yeah, so...
Or would you like to just go back to the awkward pauses?
Yeah, that was fun, actually.
Okay,
that was quite fun. That was quite fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a couple of decades, I think, that I've been connected with the Greens, and it's part of being a social worker, opening my mind out to global issues, social issues, systemic kind of problems, and that kind of thing, and just realising there are so many layers to the complex problems that humans have in life, and wanting to be a bit of a change maker, I guess, and being passionate about social justice and the natural environment, because they're connected. We can't get very far without clean air to breathe and water to drink, and the natural environment sustains us as human beings. So yeah, it is something I've been passionate about for a long time and continue to be, and it's part of what drives me, I guess. Yeah,
because we had Alan Burns on in the last couple of weeks, and she also is a Greens, as we know, but really had also that same passion about, we need to look after this ball we're on because it sustains us, and if we keep treating it really poorly, that's not going to pay off.
It's not going to play well. It's not going to play well. Yeah, it's not going to play well. And yeah, but the good news is that there's a lot that we can do, and we know exactly the things that we need to do to make it better. Stop using fossil fuels, and gradually transition and agree across the globe to do that. I mean, that's a huge global problem, but at the grassroots and in communities, there are so many things that we can all do, and part of it is being informed too, and engaging in the democratic process is a really important part of that, because some of the big things that need to change are at the political level.
Yeah. And I agree. It's kind of like if we all do our part, then the world becomes a better place. But also if we all do our part politically, then the world becomes a better place as well. Yeah. It's almost like a knock-on effect.
Yeah. So imagine like if everyone voted for people who kind of want to do just a little bit better rather than keeping the status quo or even going backwards.
We're not going back. We're not going back, as she says over there. You've been in local politics 12 years. You've done some amazing work in that 12 years. Talk to us about sustainability at a council level.
Yeah, so look, it wasn't particularly popular at all. When I first got elected, I wasn't allowed to talk about climate change in front of some of the councillors. They would really get quite agitated around the discussion. But despite that, I did get through some really strong policies. So commitment for carbon neutrality and 100% renewables for the organisation. So City of Ballarat now purchases 100% renewable energy, and it not only reduces the emissions, but it saves a stack of money for the organisation, which in turn is more money that goes back into the community to, do things for community good.
That's amazing. You did that. You went in and sort of went, wakey, wakey, and you went, oh, what?
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yep. Yeah, so that, as well as...
social justice?
Yep. So some of the first things that started to change were so getting commitment for Ballarat to become a Refugee Welcome Zone, work towards the intercultural city, just inclusion broadly, so LGBTIQA plus inclusion. So back in the early days, in my first couple of years on council, no one wanted to talk about LGBT plus inclusion. But over time, we're now considered one of the leading councils, really.
Yeah, everybody wants to be us.
Yeah, we've got an advisory committee, so in terms of like the Rainbow Pledge, the local government pledge, we've got quite a lot of progress in that already.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You also went to Rome around the time of the whole hell moment here, and you went with survivors of institutional sexual abuse. Talk to us a little bit about that.
It was very intense, but important. So I was asked by the local group of survivors who were sitting through the Royal Commission hearings here in Ballarat, so the Royal Commission into institutional child sexual abuse, and they were rallying together to organise the trip to Rome, and they were fundraising and crowdfunding to do that, and there were about 12 of them, and they wanted a team of support people around them, and they wanted someone to come along to support them and represent the city. And I was deputy mayor at the time, and a lot of them suggested me and came to speak to me about it. And initially I felt, I wasn't really sure whether I was the right person to go, but then I just felt really compelled to support them in that, and it was an incredible experience. There was so much media attention while we were over there. There was global media every single day, several times a day. It was incredibly empowering for the survivors who were there. I have so much respect and admiration for how they conducted themselves in a really difficult environment. It was grueling. So because the hearings were being live streamed back to Australia, they were held in the middle of the night. So we would arrive there at midnight and have to sit through till about 4 a.m.
Wow.
Yeah, so not only were people really exhausted, a little bit jet lagged, because we went straight from the flights into the hearings. So they were exhausted physically. It was very triggering, it was very traumatic, and if people have seen any of the things that Pal said, it was just so, it was horrible to hear some of the things that came out of his mouth, how much he knew about what was going on. I felt incredibly privileged to be asked to go and be there and support people and represent the city, and people back at home were really grateful really grateful that I was there supporting people and representing the city.
Yeah, it was a really tough gig for all.
Yeah.
But particularly for the survivors who did go, who are also carrying the memories of those who are no longer here to take that trip.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. It was all at the surface. Yeah. Wow. Thinking of just that ripple effect and people whose lives were lost. Yeah. We're no longer here, and just the courage that it took, and how much change that created in as far as a ripple effect to around awareness of child sexual abuse, which I think in turn has had a ripple effect on awareness of gender-based violence as well. So I think, there have been some points in time that have really changed the way the community understand and are open to hearing about it.
There was something, I think, particularly in that moment where everybody in Ballarat rallied in that moment. It's, people who didn't even know anyone were still sort of in support, and the heart and the love and the care, like really, that I love that about Ballarat. When it counts, like this regional city really does rally beautifully.
It was an incredibly powerful example of that. Yeah, really, really powerful example. And people could feel it over in Rome. The survivors could feel the support of the people back at home. It was really palpable.
We need to go for a short break, but when we come back, we'll have some more with the very lovely and very generous and kind Councillor Belinda Coates right after this. We're on Facey.
Yeah.
Are you still wondering?
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Just whether I need to probably mention some support numbers for people if listening to the
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Into that camera right there.
Yeah. So support numbers for people. So if hearing about the child sexual abuse has been triggering in any way, and people need to seek out support for themselves or others, there are a range of support services and numbers. So Lifeline is a go-to. If you're stuck, they will always point you in the right direction. Or I'm just trying to think of the local CASA number here, but you're going out broader.
Well,
than
we're
that.
on Facebook at the moment.
Yeah.
CASA Risk would be another one.
Yep. CASA is a good go-to.
Rainbow Door, if you're a member of the LGBTIQA+ community.
Yep. All of those are really good contacts. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well done. Well done. Speaking about well done, Christian Sheridan is in the thread. Good on you, Belinda. There you go. With a big green heart and I think a big green flag. There's something about green going on there.
Excellent.
Maybe Christian is Irish. I don't know. Yeah.
So you had Kristen on recently, didn't you?
Yeah, before I fell sick.
Yeah.
So technically, Kristen was the last interview before you.
Ah, great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah, bring it out. That's for Ballarat. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you. Do you want me to read out the number?
Yeah, do it.
So where actually is the number down the bottom? Oh yeah, I should remember it because I used to work there. 53203933.
And that's the number for?
Ballarat CASA, Ballarat Centre
CASA.
Against Sexual Assault. Yeah. Or there's a 1-800 number which is not there, but that will just take you through to the the after hours number as well if people need it.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome back, you're watching Lance TV. I am still Lance de Boyle, and I've been coughing in these little spots where I can because, you know, wasn't well the last couple of weeks. But that's enough about me. Let's talk about you, Councillor Belinda Coates. Coming up for the election, Victoria has gone into local council elections. Talk to us about, I just need to find my question. Talk to us about, there's been a change, you were talking about at the top of the show, well, I mean, before we got onto the show, the single member ward system. What's going on with that? What's that?
Yeah, well, it is something that people might find a bit confusing. It's been a gradual transition over the last 4 to 6 years for...
46 years? 4 to 6
years. 4 to 6 years, somewhere around there. I think it's maybe started around 6 years ago, and then, yeah, some councils have already transitioned to single member rather than proportional. So the metropolitan councils, a few of them have already moved to that. It means that previously where there were bigger wards with, say, like 3 members, they've kind of gone down to 3 single-member wards. So they're carving up the wards into it's kind
more bite-sized chunks.
It's going back to the past almost, and
we are going back. We are going back.
There wasn't really a good reason for it or a rationale. The state government, basically in their wisdom under Adam Somyurek's, can I say brain fart?
Look, if that's you can actually swear if you want to put it on record, but yeah, brain fart will work.
Yeah. And then I think Labor booted him out after a while anyway.
Well, he was a bit of a dodgy character in the background, but hey, you know, that was then, this is now.
But they kept his supposed great idea, which whether the jury's out on whether it will actually be an improvement. It's not really what people wanted over time through all the consultation. People tended to prefer multi-member wards where
they could play off people against each other, splitting.
No, so yeah, that is coming to regional councils. Lucky us. So here, where we used to have 3 larger wards with 3 councillors, we're going to 9 single-member wards. One of the concerns is that it might swing back to the old parochial days where people were very, you know, just only care about the things in their particular ward, when councillors are actually elected to make decisions for the benefit of
everyone.
The whole municipality.
Yeah, well, I suppose that might be it. So what does that mean though? So instead of having a ward with 10,000 people, it's now a ward with 3,000 people? Is that kind of what's happening, or?
Yeah, they're a little bit bigger than that, so I think...
No, just as an example.
Yeah, as an example. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
I'm not getting technical because I actually don't know. I just went, let's do it this way.
Yeah, roughly like that. Yeah, definitely.
Right. So...
And so it means, so under the old system, under the proportional, where there were, say, 3 councillors for a ward and it was proportional, the quota was around 25%, whereas now in a single member ward, a quota is like 50%.
Yeah, right.
So yeah.
So for people who are voting, if you're voting in Victoria at a local election, that would have meant that you had registered before August 6th, because you can't do it now, it's all too late. What are the hot tips and tricks for people who are looking at voting in the new single person ward election?
Yeah, well, it's for councillors, it's or candidates, sorry, so councillors, returning councillors, or new candidates, it's kind of like an interview process. So, but the strangest interview ever, in that, you know, it's the public decide. But I think for people who are voters, doing your research and really just investigating who you're voting for. If it's not if it's not really clear who your candidates are. Often in local government elections, people will see a very long list of names and they're like, I don't know anyone on that list. There's nothing kind of clear to show what their values are they politically aligned or not. They may or may not be, even if they don't disclose it. So as Greens, we always disclose.
Yeah, that's a bit of a badge. The Greens go, hi, I'm running for a local election, by the way, I'm Green. Anyway, back to the election.
Well, it's kind of about being transparent. In New South Wales, local council candidates have to disclose if they're a member of a political party, and I actually think that is more transparent. People don't have to be a member of a political party by any stretch to be a candidate or to be a councillor, but I think as a voter, I want to know is, what are the person's values? What are they standing for? If you can't find out anything about them politically, just what have they done in the past? Are they connected to the community? What's their track record? Those sorts of things I think are worth doing a little bit of research about. If you can't tell from the statement that you get, most of them are postal ballots in Victoria, apart from City of Melbourne is an in-person. So
oh wow!
Yeah.
Amazing. It's such an interesting. The voting process is interesting anyway, at the best of times, but let alone at a local level.
Yeah, it's, I think what I like about the local level is it's where the real change happens. It's where the real community momentum and social changes happen. When I think about big social changes, they're most of the ones within my lifetime or my time in being engaged in politics have really, really started or been grown from local government. So
well, you were saying before the show that the marriage equality campaign was really kind of had local governments across Australia leaning in support.
Yeah, that's right. So it started with just a few really progressive councils that would pass motions of support for marriage equality. Even things like starting to fly rainbow flags and those sorts of things as well. So that all started at local government before there was much support at any other level of government, and it eventually got to the point where there were literally hundreds of councils around Australia that were backing, had motions in support of marriage equality. It eventually passed at the Australian Local Government Congress, the National Congress, which in turn put pressure on the federal government. So we know that both Liberal and Labor were not in favour for a very long time, and then following some of that pressure kind of changed.
Amazing. So Paul Kelly is right, from little things big things grow.
They do.
I tell you what, we've reached the end of the interview.
Oh, already?
You're ready?
Yeah.
Not the show, but the interview. I want to give you this lovely tiny pride bag that you can put your containers in, your glass jars, to go and get your Whole Foods.
Amazing. That's beautiful. Wow.
And also, which you wouldn't have got the first or second time you've been on the show, this framed photo of me saying I was on Let's TV.
Oh, thank you. That's so amazing. Oh, wow.
Cheryl took that.
Pride of place that we'll have.
There you go.
Amazing.
Photo, I want to see where you put it. Rachel Goff was on the show a number of months ago. I'm on the assistant in the toilet. You know how unnerving it is to go to the bathroom and you're sitting there and you realise you're looking over your own shoulder.
Oh, that's genius, actually. I will have to put some thought into where is the best and most appropriate.
And here's a photo of Lance on Sam McIntosh's desk. No! We need to go for a break. When we come back, we will be in the last home stretch of this episode of Lance TV. See you after this. We hope you enjoyed our interview with Belinda Coates. If you would like to learn more about Belinda, you can find her on Facebook at Belinda Coates Greens. Lance TV will be back right after this.
Cool.
So if you're watching Samantha McIntosh, that's what I've got to say to you. You don't say anything. I can say it all. I don't have to worry about it. Until it comes time that I want a grant from the City of Ballarat.
True.
Maybe I'll do something for Heritage Week. That'd be fun. And you are quite amazing in that you don't see colour, or you do see colour, but you appreciate the colour of people. You don't see, or like sexual or gender identities don't seem to worry you. You're really kind of about, you're a human being, and that's enough.
Yeah, and isn't that kind of just the way it should be? I mean, people are people, and humans have so much more in common than difference. We have this tendency to want to other people, and like, what's the point of that? You know?
Yeah, I think it's the way the world's going though. Like when we look at that pustulal explosion that happened in 2020 was it 2020, 2016? Anyway, when Trump came to power, that something rippled across the world and everybody just went, meh, spare. And things really got about fear and hate and division and us and them and othering and, you can't be this, you have to be that. It's just really has blown out of all proportion.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's they're big questions, aren't they? Really around.
Well, they are, and it's I mean, even the rise of the TERFs. They've to me, I don't know if they've always been there, but to me, it seems to be this kind of more contemporary. It's happened over the last sort of 6 or 8 years.
And I don't understand it. I've tried to sort of think about what the fear is, and I really don't.
They're not afraid. They're just being punks. It's not the word I wanted, but it's... And on Lance TV, it's time for All Over the Shop. The 29th, which is Sunday, Trans Creatives is having a writing session in Carlton. You can attend in person or online, and that starts at 2 o'clock. Friday the 4th of October, Ageing with Pride social group, gathering at the Ballarat Library from 10 till midday, as part of Seniors Festival. The 5th of October, Tool Group Art Exhibition at Kank Wolverang Records. That's there on Main Road. An amazing array of artists as always. The 6th of October is the TAG Members and Allies social gathering there in Shepparton, and that's part of GV Pride. Chasing Dick, a love story that's happening at Theatre Works as part of Melbourne Fringe, and that starts on the 8th of October from, 7 o'clock. Rewarn Ballarat, 12th of October from 1 o'clock through till 4. That's happening at St Pat's Hall on Lion Street South here in Ballarat. 19th of October is the Creswick Community Garage Sales, and that'll be at the Creswick Neighbourhood House from 7 a.m, so you'd want to be keen to do that. The 24th of October, Life Drawing Adult Workshop in Geelong at 55 Little Mallop Street, and that starts at 5:30, goes through till about 9. 27th of October, Lel Market 2024, and that's happening at the Lel Primary School. It's a car boot sale, and that starts at 9 a.m. 29th of October, Seniors Festival, Rainbow Memoir Writing Workshop, and that's happening at the Castlemaine Community House from 9 a.m. Badak's first ever Christmas night market. Ballarat and District Aboriginal Corporation is having a Christmas night market at 5 Market Street on the 22nd, starts at 5. Trentham Twilight Night on the 29th of November, 4 till 8. And that's happening at 12 Market Street, Trentham. And of course, 31st of December, Daylesford New Year's Eve Parade and Gala on Vincent Street, Daylesford. If you would like to see some grassroots parading, that's the place to be. Back to the studio. There you go. And if you're watching us from Melbourne, there is a world outside of Melbourne, a whole world of all sorts of things in regional Victoria. So come out and play. Speaking about coming out to play, Hayden Young is in the thread. Trump as an exploding pustule. Ha, love your work, Lancy. And Cheryl Jalossi wants to know, how did your walk from Daylesford to Ballarat go?
So that was with Free Palestine Ballarat, and we walked 44 kilometres in a day. About 12 of us started out, I think, and 4 or 5, it's either 4 or 5, no, maybe 5 of us made it the whole way. So we started out about 7 a.m. and the idea was that the distance was about a similar length as Gaza itself. Yeah,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was the idea, to have a sense of the size of the area, the
landmass that's getting done over and no one's doing anything about it.
Yeah. So we had some great coverage by The Guardian. Actually, they did a photographic.
Thanks, Van.
Yeah. They did a photographic coverage of it, and I was surprised. I made it the whole way. I did get sore feet towards the end, and we had a couple of people pull out with blisters and sore knees and things like that. But it was.
It's really powerful though to know that, because what is that distance? About 80 kilometres? How far is Daylesford to here?
44.
44.
Yeah, 44.
And that is the length of the Gaza Strip.
Yeah.
You know, like we can drive to Daylesford in half an hour. So that's the population going from the north to the south to get away and being pushed out.
Yeah, and the the thousands of people that are in that small space, with the horrific things that have happened and are still happening. It's heartbreaking, really. And I think that's
no one's doing anything.
And I think that was part of the frustration of the local group is really, what could they do to bring some more visibility and attention to the issue, because whilst it feels like it's a long way away the other side of the world, we have people in Ballarat who are directly connected. And if not directly connected, I mean, as humans, we're all connected. If something's
we're all
happening,
stardust, right?
Yeah, if something's happening over there, if war's happening over there and conflict over there, it has a ripple effect and affects us here. Why do we have refugees in the world? We have refugees because of wars. We have refugees in probably every city and town in Australia. And anything we can do to work towards peace is going to improve that in the long term. The walk was really powerful, and people were really grateful. It feels like such a small thing to have done, but the hope is that if more people did small things to contribute to raise awareness, the world would be a better place, wouldn't it?
Yeah, right. That goes back to what we were saying earlier in the interview too, the local level, one person can actually do something if they're with a whole bunch of other people, collectively just, I'll look after my patch, you look after yours, we'll work together on that. And then there's local government on top of that who, as we were saying earlier, through the Yes campaign for marriage equality, local governments leaning in can create change. So change can happen.
It does, yeah. And climate change is another issue that has really been led by action on climate change has been led by local governments as well around Australia. So.
Yeah. And you're a cycling enthusiast too, aren't you?
Yeah,
you're a cycling enthusiast. In fact, you rode your bike here tonight.
I did, yeah. Well, what?
Does your bike have a name?
No, it should, shouldn't it? Yeah. I don't know if it. I don't know. Don't know if it had a name. What would it be?
I don't know. But right now, we've got to go. We are getting wound up, like all arms doing, like, hurry up and get out. Thank you, Councillor Belinda Coates. All the best for the upcoming election. Appreciate your time on the show. Thank you to the crew here. Thank you to Patrick at Channel 31. Thank you for watching the show, and we will see you again next week. Be kind.
Thanks for watching Lance TV. We'll be back same time next week. Lance TV is made possible through funding from the Community Broadcasting Foundation. I'm voiceover guy Randall Smith. See you next time.